Has this ever happened to you? Help! I just paid $22 to rub a tree nut all over my face! Here at the offices of From Cooking and Scratch, we are passionate about helping you to avoid the financial pitfalls from these influencers who are charging way too much for something you could probably buy at Target. Stay tuned and we'll show you how to make a far more palatable alternative from ingredients you already have at home. Welcome back to Cooking from Scratch. It's Melissa, and no, don't worry, I haven't decided to become a beauty vlogger or a drama channel. But like yourselves, I've been a little less than pleased with some of these products that these Instagram celebrities are rolling out and charging you and I a ton of money for when there's better alternatives. And that's what we're gonna be focusing on today. No, we're not gonna be spilling the tea, but we are gonna make a rather nice cocktail. Now, I am not an esthetician. It's such a hard word to say. I don't have a science degree, and guess what? Neither do these influencers that are hawking their products at you. So suffice it to say, we may have about the same level of experience. However, I do know that there are some alternatives that you have in your house that don't have to charge you $22. Instead, runs you the cost of, oh, I don't know, say a carton of eggs? Forget your walnut scrubs, forget your apricot scrubs, forget everything that was torture for us in the 80s and yet still manages to find its way back and charge a ridiculous price for. We're going to be taking a look at something a little bit different, the egg. Something I'm sure that most of you have already in your kitchen. Now, I'm not going to talk about all the health benefits and the potential skin benefits in here because, again, not licensed to, not the point of this video. The thing I'm going to focus on is that shell. What can the shell do for us? Well, the shell is made up mostly of calcium, but better than that, it can be nicely, finely ground into a powder that you can use as an exfoliant. So instead of throwing away your eggshells, save them. Once you have a good batch, here's how you prep one. In a big pot of boiling water, boil your eggshells for about 10 minutes. This is just to make sure that we kill off any kind of potential pathogens. Now, we're not gonna be consuming these because, again, not licensed to talk about that. This is just to be used topically, but let's still be a little bit safe. After these boil for 10 minutes, you're gonna want to use your finger and just take out that thin little film on the inside. Once that's removed, lay it out on a sheet pan. I popped mine up a little bit by putting a cooling rack on top of that and pop these into a 200-degree oven, bake for about 15 minutes. What's that doing? Not only drying these out, but also making it much more palatable for our grinder to be able to grind this into a nice powder. Now, for those of you who are vegans out here, and for those of you who just don't want to use eggs, do not worry. You can get calcium powder at any health store. Now, it's not as gritty as walnuts, but the benefit of that is that you don't have to worry about it potentially tearing lines in your skin, allegedly. Let me rephrase that. You don't have to worry about it being super tough on your skin. This is gonna be much more delicate, but used in a good amount, it's gonna help kind of roll over itself and help take off some of that dead skin in a far more gently way. Plus, you don't have to go out and buy an exfoliant. You can just take the powder and put it into your cleanser. It's an all-in-one solution. So why are we using eggshells rather than using superfine sugar or salt? So while sugar and salt, superfine of course, could make for a good exfoliant, there's two challenges with it. One, sugar and salt both love water. They're what we call hygroscopic. Hydroscopic? I'll put the word down below. Meaning that in the presence of water, they're going to dissolve. So there goes your whole exfoliation. And trust me, you do not want to put a liquid on your face that has diluted sugar or diluted salt in it. The other reason why we're avoiding that is because if you look at the shape of sugar and the shape of salt, they are a perfect square crystal, meaning that there's still those little jagged ends that could your face up. Whereas eggshells, we can get this down to a very fine powder form. And again, if you want to avoid any possibilities of any sharp pieces, you can always just go and get calcium powder. So calcium is not going to dissolve in water, so we don't have to worry about that. Plus, the second benefit to this is that unlike those beauty beads and scrubbing beads and all those things that are doing horrible things to the planet, this is calcium. So I'm not too worried about any damage on the Mother Earth with this. Let's take our shells, just crumble them a smidge. This is just gonna help our grinder to be able to do what it needs to. Now you can tell we did a decent job with drying these out in the oven, that they're practically falling apart at the fingertips, and that's what we want. We wanna get this down to a nice fine powder. Now, as always, be sure to talk to your doctor, your esthetician before you try anything, because again, not a registered anything. I always like to make sure that everyone checks with their doctor before they do anything. And it really annoys me when these influencers who are selling products do not tell you to do that. How many times a week should you do this? Again, check with your doctor, but if you do not have one, I recommend trying it once and then see how your skin reacts. I think the general recommendation for most exfoliations is about once a week, maybe twice, depending. Start with once and again, see how your skin feels. Now these eggs came from a recipe that I just got done making. It's a batch of my mini frittatas. So if you're looking for a good way to get a whole bunch of shells without having to throw out any eggs, here is the link to a wonderful recipe for some great grab-and-go breakfast. Make them in batch on the weekend, have them ready that the family, the kids can take one, pop it into the microwave for about 20 seconds for a nice hearty on-the-go breakfast. Okay, we're gonna start with this much. Lock that in nice and tight. Give it a good shake, break it up a little bit more. So then when you're ready to use it, just take your favorite cleanser. This is my Mario Badescu. I'm not sponsored, I just found it and kind of love it. Take a couple of pinches of our homemade exfoliant, add in our cleanser. Get about a good 1-to-1 ratio and then just gently mix it in. Now the cleanser is going to help to kind of smooth it out as well, so you don't feel like you're putting super harsh particles up against your face. And there you have it. An exfoliant that's not gonna run you $22, instead costs you literally and figuratively about the cost of a carton of eggs. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you guys have other alternatives as well that you'd like to share, please let me know down in the comments down below. We will be back to our usually scheduled program of cooking recipes starting next week. If there's any particular dishes you'd love to see done on the show, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you awesome people in our next video. Cheers!